Level 1.2, holding the acoustic guitar. And in this lesson, we're going to learn how to hold the acoustic guitar in the most efficient way. And by doing so, we're going to protect ourselves from unwanted strain and injury while increasing our mobility, allowing us to make the most out of our practice time. Now, the first thing we need to do is establish a seating position. And that starts with a good chair. Either that or a bar stool, just anything without arms that will allow you to move your elbows freely and keep your guitar from banging up against the side of that chair. Now, this device here is called a footstool, and it's adjustable. Now, you don't have to use a footstool like this, just anything that you can place underneath your foot that will allow you to elevate your knee higher than your hip. And that forces your guitar up against the side of your body with the strings facing the audience. Without the footstool, the guitar wants to slide down the leg like this. And if you notice, the body of the guitar is now facing the ceiling instead of the audience. One, you want your audience to hear you, but two, we're about to learn that when the guitar is facing the audience, it provides the best alignment for the picking and fretting hand. Now that we've established a seating position, I want you to sit up straight because posture is important. And then we're going to put the back of the guitar up against the side of the body with this curvature over the top of the leg about where the thigh meets the hip. And you're going to do so in such a way that your strings are facing your audience. Now, some of you are going to be tempted to fold the guitar out like this so that you can see what you're doing. And I totally get it, but you're hurting the alignment of your wrist and making the guitar harder to play. And to drive that point home, I want you to make a fist. Now, if your wrist is straight, the hand is strong. And I'll prove that by asking you to bend your wrist and make a fist. And that hurts. It's even worse when you do it this way. So that proves that keeping your wrist straight allows you more movement, more mobility in the hand. And that's because when your wrist is straight, the tendons can move in a straight line. The moment you bend the wrist, those tendons have to go around the corner, weakening your hand. So once again, make sure that you hold the guitar in such a way that your strings are facing the audience so that one, you can project the volume of your acoustic guitar towards your audience, and then two, you provide the proper angles for fretting and picking hand alignment. Next, holding the acoustic guitar as it relates to the fretting hand. And a while ago, we talked about the importance of the tilt of the body and how that can affect fretting hand alignment. Well, equally important is the tilt of the neck. And that has to do with the anatomy of our shoulder, elbow, and wrist. If you were to do a bicep curl like this, notice the angle, the natural angle of your knuckles. And what we want is to provide that same angle with the fretboard. If our fretboard and knuckles are aligned, playing the guitar is much easier. I'll show you an example. Here's a C major chord with good fretting hand alignment. If we're not holding the guitar properly, we end up pulling the guitar away from the chord and we have to go into an unnatural position to play that chord. So to make sure that you have a good neck angle, what I like to do is the marble test. If you were to put a marble at the top of the neck, you would want that marble to roll down towards your body. And the faster that marble rolls down towards your body, the better the neck angle. In other words, the steeper the neck angle, the easier it is on the wrist. If the marble goes the other way, that means you're working too hard and you just want to correct it by moving your neck in such a way that you have the proper neck angle. And finally, holding the acoustic guitar as it relates to the picking hand. Now, this is going to be unique to acoustic players as we're going to play over the sound hole. I have my electric guitar players playing with their palm on the bridge, but we get the best sound over the sound hole for us acoustic players. So let's get started. Angles matter, so I want you to imagine splitting your guitar from corner to corner at a 45-degree angle. So you got a straight line going all the way through the guitar. That's going to be our angle of alignment. So with that in mind, we're going to position our forearm, not the bicep, but the forearm over the lip of the guitar, right there, in such a way that half of our hand is over the sound hole and half of it is over the wood. And if you do that across that angle of alignment, You're going to run a straight line from the very end of your forearm through the base of the thumb all the way to the tip of the thumb at about a 45-degree angle. Now you don't want this. That's 180 degrees. That's just too extreme. And you don't want this either. And that puts a kink in my shoulder at 90 degrees. If you relax, you should just naturally fall along that angle of alignment, splitting the guitar at 45 degrees. Now for those of you with shorter arms, you may want to put your forearm over this part of the guitar and maintain that same angle. And for those of you with longer arms, you can try putting your forearm over the lip back here, as you'll have more room to move around. And that does it for right now. We're going to get more in depth in this in level 3, where we talk about picking hand alignment. But for now, this should be enough. For those of you who have wrist injuries or are just struggling holding the guitar the way you are now and reaching chords, you may want to experiment with classical style. We're going to cover this in the next video. And that's going to provide a very steep angle that's going to take a lot of pressure off of your wrist. So for those of you who've had carpal tunnel syndrome or any other type of injury, this is very effective in getting you to play the guitar without pain. All right, I'll see you there in level 1.3.